evening, everybody, and welcome. Let me just turn that round a little bit there. That's better. Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Danielle, better known as Danielle, Happy Medium. I hope everybody is fitting well here on YouTube. Been a while since I did Q&A, probably last month, I think. But due to my work schedule and my work demands, it's been quite manic this last couple of weeks and things. So I thought it would be an opportunity to come on this evening, sort of chat a little bit with you, maybe about the spirit world or any questions in which that you feel you have for the spirit world. I have got the thing, so I'm just going to link into the stream to see what's going on, so just give me a moment there. And I've seen a few of you are joining, so hi to everybody who's just joining. I hope you're well. I hope you've got some questions and stuff for me. Excuse me, I've got a terrible cough. I'm getting sick, which happens from time to time, unfortunately, as a medium. But hi to everybody who's just saying hi, and I hope you is all keeping okay and stuff. I never ceases to amaze me. These lives are completely different to Facebook, but I enjoy them just as much. But they're different, definitely different. They're still in the office. My apologies. The place looks an absolute tip, but it's in the middle of being decorated along with lots of other things and things. So I hope you've got some questions for me. I don't know what you want to talk about. This floor is completely open to use, to whatever it is that you want to talk about. To me as a medium, or to talk to me a little bit about, the spirit world and things. Let me give you a little bit of a sort of rundown of what's coming in for me, which is over the next couple of weeks and months. So next week I'm due. Hiya Kerry, I hope you're well. I am really, really well. Thank you for asking. So as of next week, I am going to be away. I'm away for a week on my holidays. So I will be back at the beginning of August as we start to go into August. Hiya Laura. We have, and Kim. Hiya Kim as well. Hiya girls. I hope you're well. Hello to Sue as well. Hello to you, Sue. Carol's here as well. Hiya honey, I hope you're well as well. I really am well, girls. Yes, hope you've got some questions for the spirit world, and I hope you've got something to talk to me about, because I'm always open to questions and things. So as we go into August, my training program is very much becoming a big thing. We're getting more and more people wanting to be trained for the spirit world, or wanting to work with the spirit world more closely. So we have got the in-house training coming in, which is going to be in the days in, which starts in September, running through September, October, and November. And then we have all the dates for next year as well. My mentorship program, I had a gentleman in touch with me last night asking me about my mentorship program again. Hi to Chantel. Hello, my darling. There's one of my lovely mentorship girls there. She'll be able to tell you all about our mentorship program. Maybe you want to fill some of the girls in on the mentorship program, Chantel. Hi to Sue as well. I hope you're well. Congratulations, Sue, and you're becoming a grandma. I'm really, really pleased for you as always. So there was a gentleman, like I say, who was in touch with me yesterday about my mentorship program. I am not taking any more students for this year, but I will be taking students for next year, which is a year-long project which allows me to train you individually and get your mediumship unique to you, or what it is that you would like from your mediumship. I don't just train mediums like everybody else does, which is the run-of-the-mill, which is the box standard sort X, Y, and Z. I train all my students on an individual basis. Hi to John Smith. I hope that's not my dad. But I certainly train my students individually because it's important. That bloody amazing. I've learned so much. I'm more confident. You amaze me every single time. Well, thank you, Chantel. That brain's got some knowledge in there. It hasn't got as much, but it's got some more. I'm waiting for my certificates to come. I did my diploma for mediumship, so I'm still waiting for them. I've never known certificates to take as long as these. If they haven't come by the end of the week, I'm going to chase these up because I really do need them. But yeah, this mentorship, a very different way of teaching. I train very, very differently to a lot of other people who train out there. One, because me as a medium, I was self-taught by the spirit world, which is unusual. Most mediums will have sat with some of the best in the business, will have been tutored by somebody in the business, whatever it may be. Even though I have had an old school medium mentor me, her mentorship has come from the spirit world. It hasn't been her actual teaching. So everything that's been taught by me is been through the spirit world and everything to do with the spirit world. So I'm very different in that respect, in the way that I teach, because I believe in being as free as possible with your mediumship, and more so probably because I'm trained by the spirit world, it makes it a lot easier. So I haven't had a lot of interference or a lot of outside noise. I have sat a couple of workshops, you know, nothing that I would say really, like, I learned some stuff at a particular school I went to, but I wouldn't say that any of the other workshops that I've done over the last 6 months, I would say that there was anything in particular that I could say blew me away type of thing. Maybe because I already knew it, or maybe because it was very similar to what I'd already been taught. But I suppose every experience is a learning experience for you. But for me, I stopped doing workshops that weren't for me, and I stick with my spirit people, and they just train me the way that they feel is important for me. And to be honest, it's I'm not the easiest one in the world to train anyway, but that's another story. You're doing a great job. Well, cheers, lasses. Thank you very much for that. So I hope these are all well. So I hope you've been watching Spirit Class. So Spirit Class is really, really designed around you, and it's all about understanding mediumship, or understanding more about mediumship or psychic ability there. We've already started to get some more in-depth stuff coming in. The next lot of stuff that's coming in is all about guides, and I love guides. Guides are my favourite thing. So I'm really, really looking forward to being able to teach you a little bit more about guides, and you know what guides' purposes are and things like that. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, maybe hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell for the new videos. And no video content's going up on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and we have 2 uploads a week there for you. And then obviously Thought of the Day goes up as well. Hiya Danielle, love the Spirit Class on YouTube. Well, thank you very much. I mean, it's all for free, and you know, I really do appreciate your comments and things. You know, if I'm wrong, you know, or anybody out there is thinking, you know, I don't look at her type of thing, I've never come at the workshop with you, you can certainly come, Chantel, that's not a problem. You know, I'm always open to suggestions. I've always progressed. I don't know everything, and I never will. And if I was to sit here and say that I did, it would make me look a bit ignorant, because I believe that we're all sort of we're all learning. Even me as a medium, even though I don't take a great deal from workshops, I'm always learning from my spirit people, and there's plenty who certainly like to keep me in my place, or try to keep me in my place, but that's a little hard sometimes, but that's another story. But thank you very much to all of you. We're waiting for Julie, my question woman. You know, she's always got 50 billion questions as well, Julie, so I'm waiting for her. But anybody else who's got some questions, I mean, I did get a question today. It's actually on the Facebook page, so I'll just give you a shout on that one. So let me just open the Facebook page up. So unprepared, you know. I've just finished sitting, so I've been one-to-one sitting this afternoon, with this evening actually. Everybody's gone away nice and happy as always, which is what I like. Excuse me. Hiya to my PA, who I know is there. So I have a question from a lady who wrote it on my visitors post on my page today, and her name, I'll just give her first name, I won't give her second name there, because I don't like to give too many things and stuff away. But it was about butterflies. This was the question. The question, I can't find it on the visitors post, it will be there. So anybody who may want to check this comment out, please do. But she asked me, what is it when we see a lot of butterflies, Danielle? Or is it got anything to do with signs from the spirit world and things like that? Now, a lot of different concepts, a lot of different people think different things. A lot of people think, you know, it's not really this, that and the other. But I'm a believer in, if the spirit world really want to sort of show you something, or sort of want to get something over to you, then they will. This time of the year, we have got a lot of butterflies because it's the season for it. I tend to go with, if you get butterflies in your home, that's how I tend to go for it. Not so much when you see them outside. If you get a butterfly within your home, that would be, to me, a sign from the spirit world. Or I would progress that to be, as a medium, a sign from the spirit world. But other signs that you can get are smells of perfumes, smells of cigarette smells, but anything that's it's got to relate to that loved one. It's got to be relevant to them, because ultimately that's the person that's going to be trying to get your awareness or get your attention, if that makes sense. I got 2 yellow flowers today. Any ideas? 2 yellow feathers. I'll answer your question in just a minute, Danielle. All right, sweetheart. But these can all be signs from the spirit world, but it has to relate to the person in which that would be coming from the spirit world. So i.e., let's take my nana for example. My nana comes in, and I think I've spoke about this before, but I'll speak about it again. My nana always used a certain brand of washing up liquid, which was fairy washing up liquid, which is the lemon one. So the minute I smell that, or I smell Elnet hairspray, I am aware, my attention is taken to my nana, because they are the things that remind me of my nana. So when she comes forward, sometimes I don't always see her first, so she brings in the smell around and about me. And then obviously then I would take my attention there and then check to see who was with me. Unfortunately, you lovely love can't all do that. But what I would say is anything to do with the smells or anything to do with that type of thing will have your attention, because that's what's going to resonate around them. Butterflies outside of the home this time of year, unless you've seen it in the winter months, then I would be very, very, then I would be probably a bit more, my attention would probably be a bit more out there. Because you don't get butterflies in the winter months because of the connections to the way it is. So if you were to find a butterfly in your home or outside in the winter months, I would be a bit jaw dropped. All right. So if they're in your home, yes. Outside, you've got to question that a little bit. You have, because of the season and things. With connections to feathers, feathers have all sorts of meanings. Again, I've got to be honest with you on this one. It's always a personal preference there with them things. Hi, Danielle. First time on here. Found out how to find your life. Hello, Lorraine. How are you? All right. Random Reviews is here. Hi, Random Reviews. I hope you're well there. Also, so it comes with Spirit World. Exactly, Chantel. So thank you for that input there as well. But I do want to say with feathers, they can have different interpretations. I tend to just stick with the white ones or the grey ones, because they sort of resonate for me. Anything else, I would say put your yellow's your favourite colour. Well, then if it's we're on you people, well, your live stream is little. I think that's meant to say, is lit. Oh, right, okay, wait, maybe the room and stuff. Excuse me, I've got a terrible chest. But I would say if it's a yellow and it's a favourite colour of yours, it could be from the spirit world. I'm not saying it couldn't be, because the spirit world will always do whatever it needs to do in order to get your attention. So it would be wrong of me to say that it wasn't the spirit world, because I wasn't there to be there to see that. So what I would like to say to you is always use your intuition. It's the biggest thing that the spirit world give you. It's your inner compass. It keeps you safe. It guides you. If you feel like it comes from the spirit world and you feel like it comes from a loved one, then who am I as a medium or anything else to say anything different other than that? Your energy is so nice. I love listening to you. Well, thank you, Random Reviews. I really appreciate that. You're not the first person to say that to me in the last 2 days either. But anyway, that's another story. But anyway, so always stick with what feels best for you. Always do. If it feels good to you and it is good for you, no matter what I say or what anybody or any other medium says, you stick with what's right for you, because it will work for you. I say this with my training people all of the time. If it doesn't work for you, drop it. Let it go. Don't take it. But if it works for you and you can adapt it to be what you need it to be, then by all means do that there as well. I tend to be as free as possible. Why is it America pays nearly $1 million to profit for life after death? And why don't you put it forward? I didn't really get into politics, I got to be honest with you on that one. I didn't. Politics aren't really my forte, I've got to be honest. Do I like a lively debate? Yes, I do, but do I really want to get into the connections of profits and why is America paying nearly $1 million for... I don't know. I cannot honestly comment on that one, Danielle. It would be probably wrong of me to comment on that as a medium. Everybody has their own opinions. They have their own way of doing things. It's up to them what they do out there. It's different to what we do here. I'm not here to judge how they do it or how I do it or how they do it. It's everybody's personal opinion. It's what everybody wants to do or what they feel is best for them. But to be honest with you, why don't you put it forward? I might do, Danielle. I tell you what it is, I was tempted to put something forward to somebody the other day. I was furious. Well, I wasn't furious. I tell you what I see, and I tell you what I see a lot of as a medium, and I know there'll be other mediums who'll probably check in here and will watch this and will probably agree with me. I'm an evidential medium. So evidential medium means that I strive to look for the best evidence possible with connections to... I didn't mean it nasty, just asking. It's all right, Danielle, honestly, no harm done, none whatsoever. But I was you know what I mean, I strive, and I know a lot of other mediums strive for really, really strong evidence, or evidence that support the spirit world. And I seen something the other day, and it just bothers me. It bothers me that we have people who pretend to be mediums saying that the mediums when they're not mediums, saying that the spirit world's saying this when really the spirit world's not saying this. And it just sort of bothers me. And then to top it all off, I realised that this person was also teaching and all. And I thought, and it really worries me that. It worries me quite extensively. And I'll tell you why it worries me. I mean, I do a lot of training with connections to my mediumship, with connections to sitting with the spirit world, with my diploma in mediumship, my work with the Arthur Findlay College, which I'm doing. Do you ship your merchandise to USA? Yes, I do. Yes, I do random reviews, darling. So I put like a lot of extensive sort of time into my training, whether it be with the spirit world, whether it be with the Arthur Findlay College, whether it be wherever it is that I want to train. And then I watch certain people train and I think, do you know what I mean? Like, I know we all have something unique to bring to the table, and I know we all have, you know, skill sets, and we're all different and stuff like that. But I tell you what really, really gets my back up is there's people who train people with no background at all, none whatsoever, and that's a worrying sort of place for mediumship at this time. So there's some bits and pieces that I'm sort of a little concerned about. To be honest, I would really want to go over there and say something, but people might say that about my training, you know what I mean? People might say that about me. Do I want to say something? Yeah, I do, but how do you handle them kinds of situations? You know, you could be looking to be attacking another medium, you could be attacking this, you could be doing that, you could be doing this. So I sort of put my request into the spirit world, so we'll see what happens with that one anyway, but that's Miguel. So let me take loads of your comments. I've got to turn this way to look at the things. Okay, so let me just scroll through. So Danielle Smith saying to me, although I'm looking forward to your book, I've been reading Melanie Burke and Book of Psychic Symbols. What do you think? Any good? I haven't read that book, Danielle Smith. I've got to be honest with you on that one. I believe, a bit like with mediumship or training, any book that you read will bring its benefits, and it would also bring a lot of stuff that you probably would be no use to you whatsoever. I believe that books are again only anybody's personal experience or their personal sort of journey, if that makes sense. It will not resonate for everybody because it was their personal journey, but there will be aspects or parts of that could be helpful to yourself or to somebody else. Do I think that there is a general rule of thumb with mediumship? No. Why? Because every medium's individual, and every spirit communication is unique in its own right. So you can't really just box it up into one sort of place type of thing. I know a lot of people bring a lot of structure, or they think that by having structure and doing this and doing that's going to, you know, make that medium better. I tend to disagree with that. I like to see a little more freedom with the work. I like to see a bit more allowance of the communication doing what it needs to do. But I know a lot of people are being trained a certain way or have that mindset, if that makes sense. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not here to judge that. No, not judge that. I just do things a little differently. With books and connections to books, again, it's your personal preference. I mean, some of the books I read, Danielle, probably wouldn't be beneficial to you, but yet there may be some stuff that you read that would be of no use to me either. And it's again taking what's best and works for you and dropping the rest type of thing. Because ultimately, as humans, some learn one way, some learn another way. Some people can sit and read books all day long and get everything they need from them. Other people can't. Some people need to sit in, you know, a room and learn that way. So there's no right or wrong here, and I need to get this over with mediumship all of the time. There is no right or wrong. It is just learning. It's an experience. It's an experimental experience, time and time again, working with different clairs, working with different things, looking at how we can do things differently in order to get the best evidence or the best supporting of the communication or the best supporting of the medium there as well. Let's have a look. So Lorraine saying, I'm more aware now than ever because of you, Dan. I love the signs I get. I'm always, you know, I hear this time and time again, people coming to me saying, you know, Danielle, I've got this going on. Danielle, I've got that going on. Danielle, I'm hearing this. I'm seeing visions. I'm seeing people. I'm seeing faces, you know, X, Y, and Z. And do you know what it is? I love that. I love it. It is, It's one of the best experiences, because that's your start of journey, that's your start of working with the spirit world. That's an opportunity for you to find another extension of you, because mediumship is an extension of you. It's an extension of your soul, your growth, who you are, because we are spirit, come from spirit and go back to spirit. Mediumship is just an extension of your soul growth, or your extension of who you are, of the bigger picture, if that makes sense. Because we all have an ability. I kind of get this over to people, strongly, is the fact that your ability is always there. It's just whether you choose to awaken it or work with it. Some people choose not to. Why? Because they're scared or whatever, and there's nothing wrong with that. But other people also have this extension, and it's really, really good to go in there. The spirit world's fantastic. It's honestly, I get I buzz for the spirit world. I buzz for it. If you're in a adrenaline junkie, or you love working with energy, or you just love connecting with people to help them restore their faith in the spirit world, or reinforce that there is something on the other side, then this is the kind of work for you. Do you know what I mean? It is such a beautiful, such a moving experience, to work with clients who've lost loved ones, and you being able to bridge that gap for half an hour, 20 minutes, whatever it is, but with that evidence to back it up. And as long as you've got that evidence to back it up, it's not coming in off the psychic ability, it's definitely coming from your communicator. You've got a beautiful blend going on there. And it's such a beautiful experience when I get newbies. A couple of my students in here are newbies, and have had no connection to the spirit world whatsoever. And to see them then become these fully beautiful, fledgling mediums is such an honor. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience as a teacher to watch these grow, to establish, and watch my mediumship grow with it. Because as a teacher, I'm training, I'm learning, I'm gaining, I'm getting something new from every student that I work with in some way, shape, or form. As they take from me, there's always an exchange of energy. Excuse me. So the exchange of energy is like, I give to them, then they would give back to me, and that's what gives it a beautiful, beautiful experience. Honestly, I cannot recommend it enough. I really can't. But anyway, let me have a look at some of your comments. So, does smells and visions mean there's someone close? Smells and visions are a clear, Danielle. So you've got a connection to a clear smelling link going on, and you've also got a link for clairvoyancy there as well. So it tells me straight away that you've got a couple of links for the spirit world there. You've got to be working with the clairs in order to be working with the spirit world. So you've got some links going on there, Danielle. I'd be interested to see what else was going on with you. Catherine's there, so hiya, Catherine. Danielle saying again, she gives teaching advice and little activities I enjoy. See, I like to give you activities. The amount of activities that go on within my mentorship program, or my training for that matter, it's all practical based. It's all about getting in there, getting your hands dirty, because it's the only way you will learn. And I feel I chucked Louise, she's one of my girls, she's away on holiday at the moment. She's out in Spain, in Benidorm. And Chantel will tell you this. She didn't want to read. She refused on my mentorship program. She refused point blank. She was like, I'm not reading, Danielle. I was like, but you are. You are. And I said to her, if you don't pull me a link and get in there, I more or less pushed her. I was like, get in. You know what I mean? You will read for me, because unless I push you to read, or I make you, it's not an awful way. Please don't take this the wrong way. Probably sounds awful, but it's not. But if it don't push you as a teacher, you will never expand your consciousness. You will never expand your ability. You will never expand and try it, because if you don't try it, you'll never know. And if you don't get up there and give that message, or give off what you've got, or whatever it may be, you will always wonder, or always think, well, what if I had that link? If I hadn't given that off, expert, hey, yo, Julie, where have you been? I've been waiting for you. You will never, ever, ever be able to expand that mediumship and push that connection and push that out. I make my girls punch for higher evidence. I make them work hard company. Sorry, it's all right, darling, it's all right. But I make is push, I make them go back, get me more, I want to see more on it. What's the story behind that communication? What you're talking about? Why they're giving you that? They're not going to give you for nothing. So what they're giving you for? Let's dig round on that. Let's see where we want to be with that type of thing. Julie, you're going to get wrong. Hi, she's right there, Catherine. Anyway, so let's take a look at my tea. So I hope that sort of gives you a little bit of an idea. I'm not a mean teacher. I just want you to be the best you can possibly be. Right, Julie, when you're ready, Petal. Julie loves her questions, you know. She asks me all sorts of stuff. I feel like I'm proper on the spot, you know, like mastermind. The spotlight's on you. I'm quite nervous, actually. I do. Anyway. My daughter's made that tea. It's like... Anyway. You're brilliant. Yes, I see visions and smells. And being ready to open up more. Please do, Danielle. I would like to have an intro. I would like to train you. Actually, I think you've got some kind of lovely link going on there. When you have been training students at any time, have they given you messages? Yes. The Chantel brought through my mother's best friend, which nobody knows about, and it's a really unusual link, and Chantel's here on the stream, so she'll be able to back me up on this one. Yes, she did. She gave me a message from my mum's best friend, which I knew the lady, I knew the connection to her. She died in extremely interesting circumstances. We got there in the end. I made Chantel work for that link, and we eventually got how she passed, the way she passed, and the connection to that. I was buzzing. It's an unusual link, and nobody knows I've got it out there unless you would read for me, and nobody would actually look for that link. They wouldn't think that it was there. I've had one from my ex-partner, which was off Stacey, which is another one of my training girls. My ex-partner's in the spirit world, so he's up there, and he does come from time to time. He's often very much around and about me and very much works alongside me. And then I've had one, and then my son come through, which was from Karen. And Karen had a beautiful link for that as well. And I also, our girls are amazing. We just the yoga girls. Like, I've got to be honest with you. I've got to be honest. I've been very, very humbly grateful. You know, I mean, some of these girls, I've got exceptionally good skill work there. Just tweaking it, and I think we've got ourselves. I've got myself kind of few little mediums on my hands. So I'm really chuffed. We've done really, really well. But yes, is the answer to your question, Julie. Yes, very much so. It's nice actually, because I do like a message from time to time, whether it be, my nana's not been through yet, like, but that's now new for my nana. My nana is so picky. So picky, my mum's mum. Absolutely. I don't know why. She's only, there's a particular woman that I know and see him, who I go, where seems my home church. Been there for years, was where I started my training. I did my open circles, not so much training, but my open circles where I did my first rostrum work, which is church work, the main use. And Carol, she's one of the healers there, and I know Carol well. She's a good healer as well, good spiritual healer. But how do you connect to healing energies? I'll talk about that just in a minute, Julie. So, and she will only, if she goes to Carol, she'll talk to Carol quite a lot when I'm there. And if Carol's doing a rostrum, my nana will always come through. But my nana's awkward. She will not just go to anybody. But getting to Julie's question. So, let's talk a little bit about healing energy. What decides if you train people? Do you know? Not being funny, just wondering, it fascinates me. I'll talk about it in a minute. Let me do Julie's question. So, let's talk a little bit about healing. So, there's two forms of healing. There's Reiki, which is a connection to working with energy or working with the spiritual energy, which is connecting to the universe. Or you've got connections to what is spiritual healing as well. Both very similar, but a couple of different things in them there. Basically, if I'm doing any kind of healing or working for any kind of, or sending any kind of sort of absent healing or working on the body, I'll first and foremost do a body scan, which is either with my hands or sometimes I'll see it. So what I'll be able to say is a scan of the body, which is the auric field, as we would like to call it, which you've heard me talk about the aura. The aura will have connections or show me maybe blips. I might feel them blips as I put the hands round the body, or as I just sort of search the aura. I might sort of feel a bump, or I might feel as if it's a little cooler in one area where it isn't in another, or I might just see that there's a matter sort of here that needs to be addressed. We tend to work with healing guides, so you have to have a healing guide or working with a healing guide in order to be able to do that kind of work, because that's ultimately that purpose of that guide. We are going to be seeing a connection to a healing guide and the purposes in spirit class that's going up next week. But what that healing guide will do will help you to attune them energies. So what you do is you will sit quite quietly, just as you would do for meditation. And what you would do is visualize or feel the energy being drawn. You say, I'll draw from the top, but sometimes I can draw from the bottom, depending on which way I feel is going to work for me that time. Draw it in, pull it in through my hands, and just put the intent. So it's the intent of the energy. I may then put the name to it, or I may visualize the person and then just push that energy towards that person. But my healing guide will work with me. You know, I mean, I've got a healing guide who works with me. There's been so much change with my team over the last 6 months. It's been phenomenal. I've never known so much change in such a small amount of time. Not in this quick succession anyway. But this healing guide will work with me in order to give that energy. If I'm doing a body scan or I'm looking to fix a particular body or fix a particular auric field, they will assist me with that, because it's not my purposes as a healer. My purposes is just to stand and allow that energy to be brought through me and given to the client. Same as if I'm looking at chakra systems, it may be that I might feel that vibration isn't there on that chakra, so you would feel it. It should vibrate in a certain sort of way. For me, I know it. For you, it's not as easy to sort of understand it. It's sort of a feeling or a known, or I might see that there's some discoloration within that chakra, or I might see that there's some sort of work needing to be done there with that. And what will happen is my healing guide will draw that energy in for me and allow me to work with that auric field and that chakra system in order to put it to the best of its ability. The spirit world always know what's best for the energy field. They always know what is best in order to fix that or to put it back to where it needs to be. A lot of it can be mental, so you've got to remember with healing as well, a lot of it has a lot to do with the mind. So because if the mind is busy, it will then eventually have an impact on the physical body. It can have your mind can do extraordinarily weird things to your body if you allow it. And I talk about this all the time, but that's how I would do healing, Julie. I hope that sort of answers your question. I hope it sort of gives you a little bit more insight there. What did Danielle ask me? What decides if you train people? Hiya, Debbie. I hope you're well. I tend to find my students find me. I don't pick my students pick me, which I think is probably the best way. Personally, for me as a teacher, I think that my students should pick me because either there's something about me or something that's drawn them to me. I'll give you a prime example. The gentleman who got in touch with me last night, he was very much a man who he hadn't been watching me as such. But I'm in a couple of groups across Facebook, not just my own groups, but a couple of others. I have some friends who run spiritual groups, whatever it may be. We have a couple up here in the north that promote mediums and demonstrations that are going on across the north, workshops, etc., etc., etc. And obviously, a good friend of mine owns 2 of them groups, so a lot of my stuff's posted in there. My workshops, my demonstrations, whatever it may be that I'm doing. So what tends to happen is that people obviously say, you know, there's not just mediums in there, there's the average general publics in there as well. And in particular, sometimes I tend to find people who are developing or semi-developing, or people who are just aware of the spirit or wanting to do, or just are curious about the spirit world, can be in these groups as well. So this gentleman had actually come from one of the groups that I had been in, or my stuff's been posted into. And he getting in touch with us and he said, are you a teacher? I was like, yeah, X, Y, and Z. And I'd said, like, how have you found me? Because I like to know where my students are coming from, type thing. At this time, I can't train that man. Not because I don't want to, it's because I don't have space on my mentorship program for him. Next year I could, but I can't train him this year because I won't disturb the mentorship program that I already have. And as much as the money's nice, as much as the money is nice, I'm not prepared to upset my girls who have already been 3 months in training with me. So what tends to happen is I tend to find that my students pick me, not I pick them. Has there been opportunities where I have sort of looked at a student and thought, yeah, could I do something with you? Yeah, from time to time, yeah. You know, do I think, and then there's other students I look at and think you would need more work than some. Yeah, because that's my job as a teacher, to know what my students need and what they don't. Am I aware of everything? No. Why? Because the spirit world don't make me aware of everything. I'm not here to fix everything, and I'm not there to give them everything as well. You tend to find, and I'm a great believer in this, is when the time is right, the teacher will appear for the student. And I'm a great believer in that. And I'm a great believer in that I will only take people as far as they are meant to go, and then either other people will join them and take them to the next level, or whatever it may be there. Yes.
Can I get some money for the Domino's?
No, get out. Sorry, it's my daughter. Anyway, so I hope that answers your question for you there, Danielle. Let's see. Look, Julie's saying, why are some mediums sensitive from an early age, but others have to work for development? Big question. It's the big question that everybody asks. Why is it that some mediums take off and just absolutely go, hell for leather and make their name in 6 years? Why is it that some people train and just don't get anywhere fast? It tends to be, there could be a couple of reasons. One, either your mind's not open enough, so you're fear-based, or you don't have that ability, or you're not prepared to expand that ability in order to allow the spirit world to come forward more there. It could be that there is some people who say that it is a gift, and that some people are just genuinely gifted and have that gift because it was in the family, or whatever it may be, etc., etc., etc. Do I tend to agree with that philosophy or that sort of thought? Nope. I just think that some people are more sensitive than others. I think some people are sensitive from a young age, or are aware, or their mind is more aware from a young age than other people. It just depends, I think, on the individual. And this is where I talk about every human's unique and every medium is unique in their own right. And I'm a big believer in it's just about the mind and how open the mind is and where that mind frame is from either a child or a fully fledged adult there. And I do believe the more open your mind is, the less fear-based you are, the less emotional problems you've got, the less sort of issues you've got going on, the better it is for your mediumship there. A lot of people don't agree with that. They say mediumship and your mind is two completely different things. It cannot be when you're a mental medium. It just can't. If you've got a lot going on in here, your mediumship will ultimately suffer in some way, shape or form there because of it. But in answer to your question, Julie, I believe it's just because the mind is already expanded, or the mind is already in that connection, or that mind is already aware of it, even if it isn't developed yet. In order to be able to give the communication, the mind is already ready for it there. So I hope that answers your question a little bit there, Julie. Chantel saying there she felt a big pull in her belly to be trained by me, so she picked me, not I picked her. Debbie's saying, great teacher, thank you, Debbie, darling. Better Abby, there is. Catherine, as always, there's always an issue with Abby. Julie saying, has spirit ever annoyed you to the point if you were out anyway you have to give it a message to somebody? Nope. No. And I see this go on quite a bit with young fledglings or newbies, or a particular medium in the States who I see this go on quite a bit with, and it's a real bugbear of mine. It really is. And my girls are already warned, if I catch you doing this, I'll kill you. I don't agree with walking up to somebody in a supermarket or into a shop or wherever it may be and just giving out a message. It's unprofessional. It's not ethically right. It's a personal responsibility. Everything and anything is a I nearly died. Oh my God. So anyway, oh my God, honestly, I think I've just lost a life. And don't all start laughing all at once now, will you? I nearly died, I swear to God. But anyway, right, getting back to Julie's question. I don't agree with that in any way, shape or form. There's a few reasons as to why I don't agree with it. Honestly, I've just nearly lost a life there. So basically, what I tend to find, Julie, is that I can't believe that just happened. It's every time I come in this office, I tend to find that it's ethically not right. One, because you don't know where your client's headspace is, or the person in the shop, or the person in the street, or wherever it may be. Or the fact that you don't know how their response is going to be to that. And what can ultimately happen is you can give a message, and then what can ultimately happen is that person could keel over, could have a heart attack, anything could happen, and you would be responsible for that. And that's where personal responsibility comes in. I think when mediums first start out, we very, very want to wow people. We very much want to, it's not, I know, Lorraine, it's not funny. We very much want to wow people. We very much want to make it in print. We very much want to sort of make our name, if that makes sense. And unfortunately, what can happen is the morals and boundaries and stuff that sits around and about that sort of go out the window. And I'll give you a prime example of this. A girl come to me yesterday. She reads. I know she reads. And I know that she does some readings. And I've been watching. I don't watch her because of her readings. I just watch because I know she's on my Facebook. And she come to me yesterday and she'd had an inbox from a particular gentleman talking about wanting to take a reading, but wanted to talk about him and his wife and how the fact that his wife had left him and whether she or not she was going to come back, X, Y, and Z. Now, I've got a bit of a problem with that, and I'll tell you why I've got a bit of a problem with that. One, because it's ethically wrong. A reader should not be going over onto somebody's boundaries and reading that person without their consent, because it's against the rules. Well, for me personally, it is, because you're infringing. It's like me going and looking in somebody's window. So, for example, right, I go to the neighbour across the road and just start staring in their window. Why wouldn't you do that? Because it's not ethically right. And two, it's an invasion of people's privacy. And it's the same for a reader. A reader or a medium shouldn't be invading or stepping in on any other medium or interfering with anything to do with that reader or a non-reader because it's ethically and professionally unwrong. So with connections to your question, Julie, no, and I don't have any sort of annoyance like that. One, because I tell my people that's not what I want. Tell them, no, I'm not interested in that. They will always abide by what I want. So say, for example, I said to my people tomorrow, right, I want my name to be in lights. The spirit world will endeavour to do whatever it is that I need to do in order to get there, right? Because that's what my intent, that's where I put my mind to, that's my focus. But that's not where my focus is, so I'll just make that very clear right now. But if I was to put my intent to, I do not want to read for people in shops, streets, X, Y, and Z, then that's exactly what I'll get, because I have put my intention, my boundary to that, and my spirit people have to abide by that, because one, I'm the medium with a physical body here to the earth plane. The spirit world always have to wait for me, because that's the way it is. They will never infringe on me unless my conscious mind has gone to the spirit world and I'm allowing that to go on, because ultimately my mind's got to be with the spirit world in order for the spirit world to connect. If I'm Danielle here on the earth plane, then that's all I am, just Danielle. I'm not Danielle the medium. I'm only Danielle the medium when my conscious mind or my mind goes to the spirit world in order for the spirit world to then work with my mind or blend with my mind in order to give a communication there. So with connections to your question, Julie, no is the answer to your question. It wouldn't happen, one, because I don't allow it, and two, because my mind isn't with the spirit world, it's here to the earth plane. So I hope that answers your question for you a little bit. Lorraine saying, I get smells and buzzing sounds. Dan, I swear there's someone standing beside me in my garden. Right. Now, the only reason you're going to think somebody's standing beside you in your garden is if you've took your mind to the spirit world. So therefore, you are making yourself aware, or you're making yourself hypersensitive in order to be aware of the spirit world. You have to be aware of the spirit world or have moved your mind in order for you to be able to connect to the spirit world or have some presence with the spirit world. The spirit world can't just come in and start interfering. It's not allowed. Your mind has got to be there. What I tend to find with a lot of mediums or a lot of new mediums is that they don't know the difference. They don't know where to switch off and they don't know where to switch on. And that's because 1 minute we're connected, 1 minute we're not. So what tends to happen is when you're a new medium, you're constantly in the spirit world. You never actually come out. You stay in there. You're consciously sort of very much always in the spirit world. Half of you is living in the spirit world on a full-time basis. As you become more and more professional like me, because I was guilty of that. I did that when I was first starting out. My guides, I had my guides with me all the time. I didn't want to be without them. They were very much there. I had to talk to them. I had to know who they were. Now, 2 years, I didn't realise this, but I was checking on my page because there's a new thing come up on Facebook, I was checking the page, and now I've only had my page actually 4 years. In September, it was 5 years. So I've only been working as a professional medium 3.5 years. That's all I've been working for the spirit world. And when I was first starting out, maybe for a year, 18 months, even up until 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, I was constantly in the spirit world. I was constantly talking. I was constantly, interfering. I was doing this, doing that. I would say in the last, 8 months, I've just completely stepped back. I'm like, yeah, look, whatever, you go for it. I don't need to know whether my guides are there or not. I don't need to know whether or not the spirit world are with me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When I go to work now, I'm just like, right, let's away. My mind's there. Who have we got? Take my awareness to them. Who have I got here? Who wants to work with me? That's what I do, and that's how it works for me. But when you're a first new fledgling, you will be in that spirit world all of the time, and you will always want to be in there. Why? Because it's good stuff. It's exciting. It's a brand new thing for you. It's like, oh my god, what is going on here? All these new things. It's like, wow, all these colors and people, and it's like system overload. It's like, it's because it's so exciting. But then you'll find as you start to become the more professional medium, you tend to want to step back. You're like, I don't need to be in there as often. It becomes like a trust thing. Massively like a trust thing. It's like, you know that they're going to be there. When you're first starting out as a fledgling or as a new medium, your trust isn't there. You very much worry about whether or not the spirit world's going to turn up. You're pulling your links before you even get it to a demonstration or for a sitting or whatever it may be, because you're so not sure as to whether the spirit world's going to turn up for you, or they're even going to be there, type of thing. Now me, I just get in the car, right? I go to the demonstration, or I go wherever it is I'm going, and I get up on that rostrum, and I just go, right, let's away. And every time they're there, every time they step forward, every time they never let me down in any way, shape or form. And that builds trust. And I've built that trust up massively with my team over the last 10 months. And it's just becoming more and more the norm for me. But for you new fledglings and for you new mediums, or anybody who's sort of having that connection to the spirit world, you will find that your awareness is always there with them, always there with them. What makes you do the work, and what motivates you? What makes me do this work? Passion. I'm passionate about the spirit world. I'm passionate about good evidence. I'm passionate about seeing the next generation of mediums coming through them doors that are just as good as some of the old pioneers that we had. And if I can strive to be anything like the likes of Estelle Roberts, Helen Duncan, Gordon Higgins, then I'll be a happy lady. Like, you know, a lot of people I've got a lot of flack over the last few years. You know, people saying, "Oh, you're doing it for the money, Danielle. You're into it for this. You're into it for that." And they're wrong, you know, so wrong, if that makes sense. I'm so passionate about the spirit world. I'm passionate about good teaching. I see teaching go on, you know what I mean? I watch a lot of different mediums teaching. I see a lot of different things with mediumship. And, you know, some of it I do agree with, you know, and my mind's probably a lot more wide now than what it was maybe a year ago. You know, I had an involvement with another medium for a long time then, still do from time to time. And I believe in some of his teaching. I don't believe in all of it, but I do believe in some of it. And I am aware of some of his connections. But do I believe in everything that fella does? No. But did I learn some stuff? Well, yeah, of course. And that's great stuff for me. Do you know what I mean? Would I apply it to my own teaching? Probably not. No, because I like the way that I teach. But I work for the spirit world because, one, it brings me great privilege to watch people take great evidence and see mediumship. You know, I mean, I tell you what it is, I was at a workshop a couple of weeks ago, right, by a really well-known medium, well-known, being all over the world, X, Y, and Z, right, and I watched that demonstration, and I was like, that's how I felt about it. And I did his workshop. Can you teach even if I'm in Cyprus? Yes, Danielle Smith, I do online courses as well as in-house. And I did his workshop, and he said something to me, and I thought was really disheartening, and I was gutted for it. Like, actually, it was like mediumship's dead, and I was like, really? Like, so why are you even teaching? Why are you demonstrating then? Why would you do them things if that's what you really think in your heart of hearts, that mediumship is dead? And I was really disappointed by that, and I'll tell you why I was disappointed, because if you don't have the passion and you don't have the determination and you don't believe in the spirit world and you don't believe in the evidence and you don't believe in bringing forward good communications, and what's the point in even being there? What you demonstrating for? What you doing mediumship for? What you doing workshops for? You know, and that's what disappoints me a lot of the time with mediumship. I see a lot of big name mediums like trying to pull stuff that, you know, full names, postal addresses, you know, all this malarkey. And while it's good evidence and nobody's disputing that, you know, I also say they miss the whole personality of the person. They miss that emotion. They miss that communication about that person and who that person was and the warmth behind that person. Does that make sense? And I think that's what mediumship's also lacking as well. We've turned very cold with mediumship. Too much evidence and not enough warmth. And I like to mix the pair of them together, which makes for a really, really good experience. And sometimes I think that be just as good as evidence is the street names and things that come forward. But with connections to why I do it, Julie, you know how it is, right? If I didn't have my bills to pay, and this is the God's honest truth, I didn't have a house to pay for, and I didn't have 2 kids, and all the rest of it, I'd do everything for free. I mean, all my church demonstrations, awareness centres, anything to do with that is all for free. I don't charge a penny piece, and I go all over the country doing church work, all over. And I mean, I go to Ipswich, I go to Essex, I go up to Scotland, I go all over doing church work, Doncaster, you name it. And I don't take a penny piece for that petrol. I don't take a penny piece. I can be on the road for like 4 hours sometimes, so even sometimes 5 hours. And do you know why I do that? Because that really brings me a great sense of humbleness and a great sense of groundedness and a great sense of remember where you come from, because a lot of my work or my name was made in the church. That's where my name was made, and I will always be humbly grateful to the spirit world for that, and the fact that Edith Parish gave me my first rostrum work, and had it not been for that lady, I probably wouldn't have even been on a rostrum to this day. So I'm always humbly grateful for that. But I do my work, Julie, because I genuinely want to make a difference in the movement, different in how evidence is delivered, difference in mediumship, and difference in how people receive communications as well. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. So let me take a look. So I hope that answers your question a little bit for you there, Julie. Catherine or Karina, my apologies, Karina. Love the way you explain things. I now understand a whole lot more. Could listen to all that way. Stop around and about there, won't you? Can you teach in Cyprus? Yes, Danielle. I can do you online. Hiya, Cindy. I haven't seen you I haven't seen you for a long time. I hope you're well out in the States. I'm coming to the States anyway, Cindy, to work next year. Life after death. What is your interpretation of what it's like? I've heard a lot of different stories from people taking the transition and they're in holding pens to all sorts of stuff, to be fair, Julie. My opinion of it, or what I think, is that I believe that when you leave the physical body, you go straight over to the light. I believe that your family members are there. I believe that you stay within the family connection. I do believe that you can grow and evolve within the spirit world, or your vibration can, because remember, we haven't got the physical body with us, but your soul will continue to vibrate, which is the evolution of you. And you can continue to grow and evolve within the spirit world and learn and experience new things, just like you would here on the earth plane. Do I believe in holding pens and people being stuck between 2 worlds and stuff? No, I don't. But in the same token, and I have to be honest, because I am like that, and that's what I'm going to talk about. I have seen some stuff up there in the spirit world that's a little bit different, or a little bit sort of, maybe a lot of people wouldn't agree with that, maybe because they don't see it that way, or it's not the way in which that they perceive it. And everybody perceives the spirit world differently, and I'm not here to say what's right, wrong, or indifferent about that. But have I seen, energies that maybe are not of the same vibration as other energies? Yes. Have I seen them in soul groups, or in groups in which that they belong to? Yes. Have I seen what maybe looks like these holding pens for people who are maybe vibrating at a different vibration? Yes. That does not mean to say it's right, wrong, or indifferent. It's just how I have been shown it, in order to understand the different vibrations of the different energies, because every energy is vibrating at a different vibration up there. Everybody say, I hear certain people say that they're all vibrating at the same. I would say that was wrong, and the reason I'd say that was wrong, because of the learning and the teaching that I've seen from the spirit world, and the books that I've read as well, to also back that information up. So anything I'm talking about here is also backed up in certain books that I've read, i.e. Red Cloud, for example, where he talks quite extensively. He was the guide of Estelle Roberts. And he spoke very extensively about baby classes and vibrations, and different vibrations of where humans are vibrations of the soul. We're still learning to let go of the materialistic world, or things in which that they're done here within the materialistic world that maybe we're not always right or good, and they need to stand within the soul groups in which that they do. Because ultimately, it's like any of us, if you were to put a person who was only in C grade in with A grade, they're going to clash. Why? Because A grade is brighter than C grade. So ultimately they wouldn't blend. Why? Because the vibrations aren't the same. And it's the same in the spirit world there. So I hope that sort of gives you a little bit of understanding of how I think. Do I think that you are judged in the spirit world? No, I don't think that at all. Do I think that you were asked to look over your life or to see how you would maybe like to look at things differently? Maybe. I ain't been on the other side. I haven't died, so I wouldn't actually know that one for sure. But I can certainly ask my guides. But I certainly don't think you're judged. Do I think there's such a thing as Akasha records, where your life is documented through not only past lives, but also the life in which that you do now? Yeah, I do think that. And I do believe in soul contracts and stuff as well. Reincarnation and things like that. Not everybody agrees with them things. But it's my personal thoughts and feelings and opinions on them. Whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent is again just my view. It's just my viewpoint. It's certainly not. It's not something that, I believe that is right, wrong, or different. It's just my viewpoint. So I hope that sort of answers your question a little bit there for you, Julie. I would love to learn. Please let me know if there's anything I can access in the future. Best thing to do, inbox the Facebook page, Danielle, and we'll get you something sorted out. Or send me an email to askme@danielle.medium.com, and I'll certainly email you back and we can have a little bit of a chat there, all right? So Sarah's saying, I really enjoy your explanation of the spirit world and happenings and what you don't understand. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand this, Sarah, and we get very confused because of the different sort of advice or the different sort of topics or the different sort of opinions that are going out there, because one medium says one thing, another medium says something else. And this is a game where I say to you, take what personally resonates with you, dump the rest, because ultimately it's what fits with you, what works with you, and what sits with you. If you choose to believe that, there is such a thing as, holding pens and this, that, and the other, then who am I to say any different? I would like you to expand your mind a little bit more and think that maybe there could be more than that up there, because ultimately, I would always want people excuse me, to have a broader spectrum or a different sort of idea, because for all the different vibrations, there is other vibrations up there as well. So everybody's vibrating. For example, you've got your sending masters, I hear people talk about avatars. I ain't heard that word, I've got to be honest with you, and I've asked in the movement a little bit about this word avatar. I ain't heard of that word. And I don't know many mediums who have heard of that word, and I've been talking with some of the best in the business, and nobody seems to have heard of this word avatar. This is, from what I'm hearing from the underground, is a sort of a new sort of word for a higher energy, which is an ascending master to me and you. But I haven't heard that word, and I've never heard it used in the movement either. But I am starting to hear that word a little bit more, so I am going to do a little bit more research on that, a little bit more digging on that. But I would always ask people to be, as open-minded as possible, and always think, what if can be, with them connections to the spirit world, because, there's all sorts of different vibrations of energies. There's different sort of people up there. There's different energies up there. Remember, they haven't got the physical body with them, but there's still energy, and they still have aspects of, what they did here on the earth plane, because ultimately that's where your message and things comes from. So let's take a look at some of the questions. So Julie's saying, do you have any advice for people who have the gift or sight or doesn't understand what's happening to them? Yeah, loads. It's exciting times. And that's no word of a lie. It is. That's the journey. It's the start of your journey. It's the opportunity to work with the spirit world if you so wish to, or you can choose to not work with them if you so wish to. It's always your choice. It's always a personal preference as to whether you work for the spirit world or not. Spirit world will never force that upon you, and they will never make you work for them if you do not want to work for them. Advice would be to get yourself, don't panic. First thing I want to say, and I see a lot of new mediums do this, panic. They're like, oh, what's going on? Best thing to do, don't panic. They're not going to harm you, right? The spirit world didn't harm you. The only person who harms you is the folks down here on the earth plane. The spirit world's got no intention of harming anybody. I mean, I've been working for the spirit world for a year, and no bad's happened to me. I'm still alive and kicking, and I'm still sort of here, breathing, eating, sleeping, that type of thing. So they've never done anything to me in respect of where I would be of any harm, if that makes sense. So the first thing I would say to you is don't panic. Don't panic at all, because a lot of people do panic and they find it sort of very daunting because it's new. So they're not quite sure exactly what's going on. Best thing to do is take a minute. I would say always make sure that your breathing's in a good place. Breathing will ultimately control everything and anything that goes on within your own life or within the spirit world as well. Then I would recommend that you either work with the spirit world and do it like I've done it, which is self-taught, and work through that to the best of your ability, or find a good teacher or start heading for open circles, home circles, SNU churches, awareness centres, things like that. There's nothing wrong with any of them, to be honest with you. Advice, take one day at a time. Don't rush your spiritual work. I was guilty of this, massively guilty of it, and I know a lot of other mediums who are also guilty of this, where they have rushed their spiritual work in order to progress so quickly, and they will ultimately move you as quick as you want to move, but eventually then the spirit world will go, whoa, you're going a bit fast there, you can't get that fast. And what tends to happen as well is you're learning. So as you're learning, you've got to remember, you've got to obviously implement that as well. And some lessons or some things that you learn from the spirit world take longer to learn than other things need to learn. Remember, it's a day-to-day job. It's a connection that needs constant work. It needs constant attention. You've got to be in it, for the long haul. Once you decide to work for them and you want to do something with it professionally, like me, you've got to be prepared to put the graft in. And I got to be honest, it ain't easy. It ain't easy. The amount of times I've been in tears over my work, the amount of times I've had run-ins with the mediums, amount of times, and I still from time to time still have run-ins with mediums. You know what I mean? I'm not without that problem there. The amount of jealousy in the mediumship movement is massive. You've got no idea, man. The amount of people who will rip you down, will tear your work apart, will call you, all sorts of things, and even as close as friends are. Do you know what I mean? I've seen, people who I thought were my friends and people who I thought were my work colleagues, completely just destroy me and think nothing of it in order to step over you and to get into another place or get into a better place. So if you're going to go down that road, be prepared for a tough road. It is not easy, and working for the spirit world is not easy. It brings its amazing highs, amazing, to the point where it's like you're on cloud nine, and then it brings the most heaviest and most hardest of lessons as well, or the toughest of times when you're having to put up with the backlash of a medium or a backlash of the general public, or your confidence is on the bottom. And I'm no stranger to that, where my confidence is being wrecked for whatever reasons, whether through my own mindset or because I've allowed somebody to say something to me and it's getting inside my head, and it takes you a while to let that go. So my advice to any new fledgling, take your time, get your basics in place, make sure that you've got your team in place, how your team work with that team on a day-to-day basis, get to know them, build that relationship not only with them but also with the spirit world. Never tell anybody you can't, and never let anybody tell you that you can't be a medium, because somebody said that to me a long time ago when I first started developing. I'll never forget him, and I don't like this man, and there's not many people I dislike, but this man I really dislike. To be honest, I don't hate the fella, but I really dislike him. All right, and he's made my life a living hell for about 3 years, and he badmouths me every chance he gets a chance, and that's only because I don't know whether he does it because he doesn't like me, or whether because he's fearful of me, or what it is. I ain't quite sure, right? But this man told me, you would never be a medium. That's what he told me when I first started developing, and I was a brand new fledgling. I was going to his own circle. I didn't have any training apart from the training that I had from the spirit world. There wasn't anybody standing around and about me type of thing. I was just sort of on my own. And because I wouldn't get up and give him a communication in his room, he annihilated me in front of about 40 people, working mediums, professional mediums, the general public, X, Y, and Z, and it was enough to nearly put me off my mediumship. And yet I didn't. I kept going like I did, and he told me that I would never be a medium, and yet look at me now. I love it. So little did he know, and this is a proper international medium now, he's worked all over the world and stuff, but that's another story, isn't it? But anyway, let's take a look at some of your comments and some of your questions. So, do you ever see a person's guide if you read for them? Sometimes, Lorraine, sometimes. But my awareness normally isn't with the guide unless the guide feels that there's something important that I need to speak to about that person or about that medium. I have communicated with a lot of different guides. I work with my own trainee guides, and I speak to them quite frequently about where they feel their teams are taking them, or what they feel that I need to know as a teacher in order to take my students to the next level. It's important that I know them. Do I get to know everything? No. with connections to sittings. Has it happened for other mediums or mediums who've come to me for advice with connections to their work? Yeah, and I've spoken to their guides about that and you know, then relayed that information. But again, I only get to know what they feel I need to know, ultimately because it could interfere with the path in which the spirit world's got designed for them, or it could interfere with the medium's free will. With connections to ordinary sitters, I've got to say no, because my awareness normally isn't with their guides. My awareness is more with their loved ones. So with normal people, probably not. No. With spiritual people, yes, if that's the reason that they've come for that sitting for, or because it's a need there, if that makes sense. So I hope that answers your question. Sarah's saying, thanks Julie, that's what's happening to me. Thanks Dan, that's why I don't understand. It's been happening to me for months. Okay, well, we can take a look at that for you, Sarah, when you take your sitting. Cindy, how and where should people start if they are looking to be self-taught? Me, do you want to know my story? So let me tell you about my story. Let me drink my tea. Are you ready? So me, how old am I? I'm 38. Four years ago, I was working in the mental health industry and had done for 10 years prior to that. Worked as a nurse, worked with challenging behaviour, worked with the elderly, had worked with people who'd had terminal illnesses, X, Y and Z. So I had my field is massively within the medical profession. Worked on the district, worked within the hospitals, worked within the private sector as well. And at the time, I was working for a private sector. I'd come out of the hospitals and I've gone into the private sector. And I was working with challenging behaviour, which wasn't a new field for me, but it was for the people in which that I work for. Because normally my challenging behaviour was with the elderly. It wasn't with the younger generation. This home had only been open about 6 months. It was a brand new home by a company. I won't give the name out, but the company has now gone into liquidation. And the company that I worked for was incredibly hard. The staff were hard. I was a team leader in there. I did rotas, you know, I run staffing, that type of thing. And it was just the staff coupled with the new company, coupled with the fact that there was some really big personalities. I mean, my personality is quite big, it is. But it's not always big. Sometimes it takes a bit of a background there. It's not always up and in your face. And some of them personalities were a lot stronger and a lot bigger than mine. And there was a lot of differences of opinions and things like that. And at the time, I was also having a relationship breakdown. The gentleman that I've been with had been with me for about 2.5, 3 years. And at the time, I was also very aware that he was cheating on me. And there was some information coming backwards and forwards from people, because, you know, people are like to get involved in other people's businesses. And there was tales being run backwards and forwards and X, Y, and Z. And I was also very aware that my nana wasn't very well then as well. And there was quite a bit going on within my whole entire life there. And at the time, I was moving with a girl who I then subsequently come to train. How strange this is. And I still sort of train her from time to time, or give her advice with connections to her spiritual work. And she said it was, you know, she was massive into spirituals, and she was massively into, you know, open circles and paranormal stuff and all of this, which I'm not really into. And so anyway, I decided that, she says, well, why don't you try this, like, meditation stuff? And I was like, yeah, why not? And prior to that, you know, many, many years ago, and I think I've spoke about this before, you know, I used to hear people shout my name out, and I used to see people walking around on my mother's landing and stuff like that. But that had come and gone, and I'd always dreamt about stuff, and it had come off, and that still goes on to this day, still. More so recently as well, my dream work's picked back up massively. I think myself or my subconscious or somebody's trying to target me. So anyway, I started sort of meditating, and all of a sudden, it just like the whole lot just like opened up. It was just so strange. I could see people walking around. There was the man who's with me now come straight forward, and honestly, he was like nose to nose. He was like touching me on the nose here, right? And he said to us, "We've been waiting for you." That's what he said to us, right? And I was like, what are you waiting for, type of thing? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know who the hell you are, you know what I mean? Like, what are you waiting for, type of thing. And he went, I've been waiting for you. And I went, and it just like some sort of come so naturally. It was as if I knew, like I could like talk. It was like I could hear him inside my head. It was the strangest thing, I swear. And I could vividly. I mean, when I first started out, I mean, I am quite a strong clairvoyant anyway, but I could see this gadget as if like you were looking at me now, like the detail and everything of his face in it. And some of my communications are still very much like that. And anyway, and so I started to like meditate and stuff like all of the time. And at the time, then my nana died as well, right? So in the space of all this, I didn't lose my job. I still had my job at the time. But my nana died in the mix of all this, and the lad that I was dating, it all come out. Wait, I wasn't dating, I was in a relationship with. It all come out about him cheating on us and this, that, and the other. So I had like all of this going on, and so in the process, I was like still meditating and that. And like he was coming, me man, he was coming all the time. And then there was one night, I was in bed, and I was asleep, and my nana come to us, and my nana said to us, "It's time, Danielle." And I went, "What you talking about?" And she went, and I'm, bear in mind, you know, I'm fast asleep, and I'm talking to her, right, in my dreams. And I said to her, I says, "What do you mean, Nana?" And she went, "To do the thing that you've always meant to do." Well, I didn't have none of this, right? I come from a totally non-spiritual background, right? My mother works for Asda, my father's an engineer, you know, he goes out company, my mother's been working for Asda for like years, you know what I mean, for about 25, 30 years, my mother's like, you know, so like to me, there was no type of spiritualism, there was nobody into spiritualism, there was none of that malarkey going on, like none of it, right? So I was just like, what on earth is going on here? And then I was like meditating and stuff, but then my work situation started to drop, and I remember I'd had this like little group on Facebook, and my brother, how weird this is, right? My brother, I have a brother, he's a year younger than me. Martin, you call my brother. And about 3 years prior, my brother had come in with a set of tarot cards, right? And I've always had an interest in tarot cards, I'll be honest with you. Tarot cards, I didn't even know about pendulums and that then, but I've always had this great sort of instinct for like tarot cards and just looking at them in pictures and stuff. So my brother had bought me these set of tarot cards because I've been trundling around my young, and I call him my young. Been trundling around young maybe a couple of years prior before all of this had even gone on. "Ooh, have you seen these?" And I was like showing him and that, and but never really thought a lot of it, right? So then he bought us these tarot cards, and I remember these tarot cards being in the drawer, which is obviously downstairs. So I instinctively like got these cards out. I don't know why. And at the time, like I say, I have this group on Facebook, right? Why I built that group, I couldn't tell you. I didn't know. I just knew I had to open this group, and most of the winging of shit that I do, right, sorry for swearing, is like completely on a feeling, right? Like everything, more or less everything that I do is on a feeling because it feels right, or something's just not. Something's talking to me, or something's like going, this isn't right, or, "Oh, you should do this," right? So I had this group going, so I went in the drawer and I got these tarot cards out and that, and I was looking through and instinctively, I could just tell you what them cards meant, like to me anyway, like my thoughts and feelings on them. So there'd be certain cards that I would just look at and go, "I know what this card means. This means that you're having some kind of problem in your relationship." And so I started testing it out in this group, right, for free, right, just to see whether or not it was even remotely right, like right. And I'm not joking a whole lot. Let's sort of come back to us going, this is right, like this is right. Like, how do you know them things? Like, and then it started where the people started coming, right? So then obviously I was reading the cards and I was doing this, but then I started to become aware that there was spirit people like standing with us. So then I started just like giving what I got. So like and at the time I was probably doing like what most generalized mediums do. I've got your granny here, you know, 5'2", you know, glasses, grey hair, X, Y, and Z, right? And it just sort of started to like just randomly unfold like that, and people going, "Oh my God!" But then like there was more like evidence and stuff in it, but obviously not to the extent of my evidence now, because I've learned that obviously evidence has got to be sort of evolved and grown type of thing, and that happens as you become more professional in your work and you start to move forward more. So then I decided, right, well, this is kind of fantastic. And then I started to have a waiting list. Like people were like starting to ask us whether or not I was going to read on like a full-time basis and stuff like that. And I never thought in any of that at the time, right? And all the time I was still working, I was still doing all them types of things. So instinctively, because I was having such a shit time at work, and I've got to be honest with you, I was having a shit time at work, I said to the wifey, "Here, look, love, here's my notice, stick your job where the sun don't shine," which is actually what I did. And I went away and I opened the Facebook page, which is the ones that you lot all sit on, right? So, and I just sort of started just like talking about like spiritualism and started talking. And don't ask me where any of that come from, because I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I honestly can't, right? I just know that the stuff in which that I do is just right. And it was as if I was like being instinctively guided to like go somewhere and do this and do that. And that's how me business come to be. And that's how I started working for the spirit world. And it was just the most strangest thing. And it was as if it was just instinctively meant to be that way. And it's been like that ever since. So I hope that answers your question a little bit there. But that's how I come to be, self-taught. I just taught myself. It was just instinctively just knowledge within me that just seemed to come. It's as if it had all been like suppressed. And then it was just all like, it all just sort of come out. And it just all just like sort of like, it was as if I'd known all this stuff for years. But I couldn't tell you where it had been or why it was there. It was just like I instinctively knew that was right, and like that's how I come to be self-taught. And the more I meditated, the more I sat with my spirit people, the more information kept coming in, the more knowledge I kept learning, because I ask a lot of questions. I'm a very questionable lady anyway. I like to understand how things work on all levels. I like to understand why people do what they do. I like to understand why it is that people act the way that they act. I'm a very, what I would call probably nosy is the word I'll probably say. Nosy. I just like to understand stuff. So I'm instinctively like that in the spirit world. So I'm constantly asking the questions of, why does this go on like this? Why do you do this like this? Like, why is this like this? And why is this like that? And if you do not ask the questions, you will not get the answers in the spirit world, because they won't give that information up for free unless you're asking. And I also watch as well. It's about what questions you are asking, but I just ask any question, mate, because I'm just like, I'll say to my lot, like, why are you tidying up? Why? I asked them my question, like, why are you tidying up? Why are you moving things around? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And I must drive my man absolutely bonkers. Right? I must drive him crackers. Like, honestly, because the why word is never out my mouth. I'm like a little child. Like, why this? Why that? Why this? What religion do you follow? Honestly, I don't have a religion. I don't. Now, you see, a lot of people say because you work for the spirit world, but like your ticket, you asked your, I have worked my ticket all the time, but it's because I genuinely like the nice stuff. I'm questionable. People say it's mistrusting. It's not mistrusting. It's a fact that how am I meant to gain knowledge? How do I get any known knowledge if I'm not asking the questions? How do I get the clarity if I don't ask the questions? Some people will give you that clarity, because in the spirit world will always give me that clarity. I didn't get that clarity from a lot of people here on the earth plane. No, your camera ticket man on the way home. How do you get jobs in the spirit world? How to get jobs in the spirit world? They earn them in the spirit world. They learn for them jobs, Noah. You learn for them. So what happens is that when people go back to the spirit world, they can continue to evolve and learn within the spirit world. And what they can do is go into guide school, which is just like school down here. And there's different roles and different purposes within the spirit world that will ultimately help them to be able to help humans here on the earth plane. But nobody can guide a human until they finish their training in the spirit world. They have to go through training, extensive training, have to have extensive knowledge in order to be able to guide that medium to the best of its ability there. So let's have a look. What religion do I follow? I don't follow any particular religion. People say, oh, but because you're a spiritualist, I should be following spirituality. I don't really follow any spirituality, or my work is completely different to who I am as a person. People say, oh, well, you can't be a full spiritualist because you don't follow spiritualism and this, that and the other. And while I accept that maybe that pointer is maybe a valid point, I would not say that does not make me any less a medium, whether I support spiritualism or I do not. So I have to be honest with you, it's a personal preference for me there as to whether I believe in that religion or not. Do I believe in it? Yeah, maybe. Do I believe in the fact that there's many other religions? God has many houses, as I like to say. And I don't believe any religion is any better than any other religion. I think religion causes a lot of issues and problems that really we don't need there. But that's just my personal opinion. Can you make deals with the spirit realms when in the physical realms? No. No. You can't make any deal with the spirit world at all. None. The spirit world is free, as is you are free here to the earth plane. You do not make deals with the spirit world, and the spirit world does not make deals with you. The spirit world only asks that you are free and your mind is free in order to give communications, and that is all that the spirit world will ask of you. No more, no less. They don't do deals, they don't make deals, they don't do any of that. What's the difference between earthbound spirits and spirits that have crossed over? Okay, Julie. So the difference between earthbound spirits and spirits that have crossed to the spirit world is basically as we go to the spirit world, or as we return back to the spirit world, you are always given a choice. So choices as to whether or not you want to live in the spirit world or you want to stay here for a little bit longer. Some people here to the earth have a real problem with sort of letting go of the materialistic world, or a little frightened, or because of maybe religion or Catholic links or whatever, because Catholics have very strong beliefs, can sort of want to stay here, or sort of want to stay on the earth plane, not want to go towards the spirit world. So they're what we call earthbound spirits. Now these spirits are always actively encouraged to go back towards the light in whatever way, shape or form, even if they've been here 20 years, 2 days, whatever it may be. Really they need to be in the spirit world with the spirit people, but sometimes free will, and I'm a great believer in this quotation. We are perfect when we come from the spirit world. We are perfect in every way, shape or form, but our creator also give us free will in order to choose what path we must walk and what path we will not walk, and also what we will do at the end and what we will not. It is entirely up to us how we choose to do them things, and a lot of people don't agree with this. A lot of people didn't like this free will word, but unfortunately it has to be talked about. It is also the same as the connection to whether or not loved ones come forward. They have a free will choice there as to whether they choose to come forward or they choose not to. Most of the time they will always come forward, but if there's been some issues or problems there within the family, or where there may not have been a great deal of love, they may choose not to come forward for whatever reasons. And I have to stress that to people don't talk about this. People talk about spirit on demand, and I do spirit on demand. I've done it for many years. Why? Because my conscious mind allows it, because my mind's open enough. Some mediums don't do it, and really a lot of people say you can't demand anything of the spirit world, which is very true. So I would say that is a psychic link, not a spirit link there. Basically, spirit on demand is a psychic link. It is not a spiritual link. You cannot demand any spirit to come forward if it chooses not to there. But I do it. I have done it, and I still do it to this day. I know a few other mediums who do it. I don't know that many of us, but I do know of 3 or 4 of them within my community or within my sort of social sector type of thing does do it there. I wouldn't recommend it for every medium. It may not always be beneficial as well there. So I hope that answers your question a little bit there for you, Julie. Noah's saying, can you really make what's the difference between, you want to know the difference between spirits that are over in the thing as well? They are people who have gone straight over to the light, Julie. So that's the difference. Earthbound spirits are people who have chosen not to go towards the light for whatever reason. Then the people who are in the spirit world have chosen to go towards the light and live within the light there. So I hope that answers your question for you. Noah saying, is there any spirit realms? Why do we believe that the physical realm exists? I personally believe the existence of this physical realm is just a result of the spirit realm being made. The physical world is a world in which where the spirit world uses mediums, or will allow people to come back to the earth plane in order to learn. This world we are learning lessons. We're down here learning stuff. We're learning connections to who we are, what our soul needs to learn in order for it to continue, grow and evolve there. So that's part of the physical realm there. With connections to the spiritual realm, why do we need the spiritual realm and the physical world? The spiritual realm is there in order for certain spirits who have chosen not to come back to the earth to learn and grow up there, because they are going to learn within the spirit world. Some of the spirits or people will have learned to come here to the earth plane in order, because that's how their soul will learn them lessons there. So I hope that answers your question a little bit there, Noah. So let me just break that down so you understand me a little bit more. So the spirit world, we need the spirit world in order so that the spirits or people who've chosen to stay within the spirit world can learn and grow and evolve, or choose to just stand still. And we have the physical world in order so that humans and also parts of reincarnated souls that are within inside of humans can learn, grow and evolve down here as well, because that's what they've chosen. So I hope that makes sense. Remember, it's always free will, Noah, as to where they choose to learn, whether it be the spirit world or whether it be the physical world there for you, sweetheart. Sometimes when I close my eyes, I start seeing loads of faces talking to me, but I can't hear anything. Right. What I will say to you there, sweetheart, is most mediums will start on a clairvoyant link. It's easiest. Why? Because as humans, it helps us. I'm just going to put this light on. It's getting a bit dark, folks. For humans, it makes it easier for your mind to get that sort of into place. So what happens is we will see the spirit world probably first. Why? Because the mind will allow that. It will accept it. As humans, we're quite visual things. So, I don't know. Say, for example, I'd seen somebody in the street and I thought they were really, really, thanks for your opinion. That's partially why the physical world exists. Perhaps the spirit could have removed the physical world if because of people have learned. People will never completely learn because we are always evolving, we're always growing there. No, I will get back to your question, darling, but they will never do away with the physical world due to the fact that we are constantly evolving, we're constantly growing. Science is now involved within the spiritual movement as well. And unfortunately, we are always learning. There's always something new to learn. And the human race continues to evolve and revolutionize, as does the spirit world there. So unfortunately, the two worlds will always coexist and will always exist. But anyway, getting back to the lovely lady's question about closing her eyes and seeing faces and stuff, what I will say is you will always see the spirit world before anything else due to the fact that it's easier for your mind to accept. So the spirit world's always going to work with your mind the best way it is for you, or the easiest way for your mind to accept that that's going on there. If you started hearing voices, you were, first and foremost, you're probably going to be frightened, which is exactly what you've just stated in your comments there. So what I would say is the spirit world's using your mind, or allowing you to see them so that you're aware of them more, so you accept that more, so you can understand it and allow it to sort of go on there. And what then happen is as that clairvoyant link kicks in a bit more, they'll probably bring another clair in. They might bring a clairsentience link in or a claircognilian link. So it's just easing you in all of the time, because ultimately if you get too much all at once, it's like system overload. Mine will then either shut down and go, I don't like that, don't do that, go away. And what will happen is it will build in a fear, so you'll build them fears in straight away. So what the spirit world tend to do is do it really, really subtly, really, really gently, so that you're not building fear in, which will make you not reject the spirit world. Because what will happen is if you build fear in, you'll reject them. You'll shut them out. You'll be like, no, I'm not going there. Go away. It's like anything, fight or flight. What tends to happen with humans, we will automatically reject anything that we feel is of no good to us, or we feel could be of a threat to us. That is your intuition. It's your guidance. It's your trust things. It's everything that you've been given within your solar plexus in order to keep you safe on the earth plane. So the spirit world is certainly not going to give you them voices straight away unless they think that your mind is already open enough in order to allow that in. Because I do know some mediums who will automatically start working straight away on a clairaudience link, and I've trained them mediums as well. And what will happen is they will then start to bring the clairvoyancy link in, because that's easier, because their mind's already aware of the spirit world because it's hearing them, but they might not like the faces. So they think, right, the spirit world always know the best way to work with you. The only time that starts to get a little bit jibbity-jabbity is when you as a human start stepping in and going, oh, look, I didn't like that. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. I want to do that. And because you're stating that, the spirit world will always give you what you want, because it's ultimately you're in control. You're always in control when you're working for the spirit world. You have the ultimate say. Them in the background might sit there and say, well, we've got ultimate say. No, you have ultimate say. My team might say to me, well, Danielle, come on, not try this, come on, not try that. I'm like, no. But when then they'll go, why? And I'll go, because I don't want to. And then they'll go, but why, Danielle? And I'll go, well, because I don't want to. So what they will do is they will then put off hold whatever they're trying to bring in, right? Because they ultimately know what's best, right? But as humans think that we know best, but we really don't, right? So what they do is then put that on hold. Then 6 months down the line, the thing that they were trying to bring in, I accept and allow, because my mindset is then opened up enough in order to allow them to bring that forward. The only person that holds your progress back, or the only person who keeps you from moving forward, is a medium, a human, or anything else, is you. You, and people just cannot get this through their heads. They won't accept that. They won't have it. They're like, no, Danielle, that's not true. You're telling me lies. And I'm like, but I'm not telling you lies, I swear. And I'm guilty of this and all, because my mind either isn't open, ready to accept what they're trying to bring forward, or I'm too still within the conscious world, or my ego stepping in. I think I know better, which happens sometimes from time to time, because I do think I know best, when really I don't. But the spirit world know best. So what they do is just go, right, hold on. That's exactly what my people say. We don't row. I hear people say that they row with their guides and that. I don't know why they do that, because I don't row with my lot. We discuss. There's a difference. I don't row with my spirit people. I don't, I might go in there and kick clean off. My lot will just stand and look and go, what are you kicking off for? Where they don't even say that. They just look at me as if they say, oh my God, she's having herself a do. Honestly, they won't say nothing. They don't get involved in that. That's not their purposes. And ultimately, what they try to bring in, they end up getting in anyway. Just when your mind is ready, you are always in control. But ultimately, what's best for you or what they think is best for you will always come in, whether it be 6 months, a year, or 2 years down the line. It will come in because it's ultimately beneficial to your mediumship, you as a person, or in order to make your work stronger. It's either one of the three. So I hope that answers your question there for you a little bit. Is it possible for spirit to manifest themselves into a physical copy? No, Noah. The physical body, spirit cannot impress, nor can it enter an energy field of a physical body. Why? Because it's not allowed. It's against the universal law. It doesn't happen. You might say a lot of Hollywood movies say about poltergeists and this, that, and the other. It doesn't happen, sweetheart. Not whatsoever. Spirit will never infringe on a human. It will never push on a human's energy. Never. Not without permission. They're not allowed to. It's against the universal law. So I hope that answers your question a little bit for there, Noah. Have you ever seen or spoken to an angel? Yeah. I've seen a fair few angels in my time. Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Gabriel. I've seen a few. Not everybody agrees with angels, but they are there. They do exist. They do work with the higher levels. They send them masters, this, that, and the other. It's where your intent is. If you want to intend and talk to the angels, then that's exactly what you're going to get. Everything that you intend, everything that you think will always come, because that is where your intention is. That's where your vibration is sitting. That's what you're thinking about. That is what you're motivated by. So why would it be any different? The universal law is the law. The law of attraction is the law of attraction. What you are is what you attract. What you give off is what you get back. So it's the same with this. If I was to sit here and think, right, I want to talk to my guide, then my mindset's going to go straight to my gentleman, because that's where I'm putting my intention. It's like if you want to talk to an angel, if I really want to put my intention to an angel, then that's exactly what I get. I might not get the angel in which that I want, but I will get an angel nonetheless. Right. Here's a one from Julie. Have you ever heard of a spirit coming through and it's in limbo? Meaning, have you ever helped across the spirit? Right. Now, I've heard a couple of stories about this crossing over and helping people to the other side and X, Y, and Z. So let's talk a little bit about this. So, I've heard a couple of stories. So, I've got one story, which is, there's no need for that because of the intelligence of the spirit world, right? So, the intelligence of the spirit world means that the intelligence of the spirit, they are really smart up there. They're far smarter than we are, right? But the intelligence is only the intelligence of the spirit in which that it died. So remember this. So pin back your ear holes, focus, because it might get a little complicated. So let me try to break it down for you. So the intelligence of the spirit world is only intelligent as the person in which that they pass to the spirit world. That spirit can evolve and grow and gain more intelligence, but only in the rate in which that it grows or the way in which that it learns, right? So that is how some other spirits are more intelligent about other things in the spirit world than other communicators that may come forward who have little or no knowledge of the spirit world for whatever reasons. Maybe because they didn't want to learn. Some in the spirit world do, some of them don't, right? So the implying of people who get stuck to the earth plane, or people who are in limbo, or people who need help over to the spirit world, there's a couple of aspects to this. So one is the intelligence of the spirit world states that because people are so intelligent, there is no need for people to be stuck here. But the person is only intelligent as intelligent it is. And if it's chosen not to learn in the spirit world and still stays at the intelligence which it was that it went crossed over to the spirit world, or still here to the earth plane, then that's all that the intelligence of that spirit will have. It will have no more intelligence other than the intelligence it had when it was here on the earth plane. So therefore, you could have somebody who could actually be stuck on the earth plane and could or need assistance in order to go back toward the spirit world. Right? But then I've also heard people say that it's a medium's ego, and the fact that they feel that that medium is involved in ego, and that they feel that they need to get involved in spiritual work. Now, have I crossed the spirit over to the spirit world? Truthfully, no. I have to be honest with you on that one. No. Have I said to my people, there's somebody in this house, like i.e. the Gudgy in my house, and I say to my parent people, excuse me, but the man is here again. my people will then say, we will fix that, because really it's a spirit's job to get involved in a spirit's job, not really human to get involved in a human's job, in a spirit job. But that does not mean to say that then things do not go on. My thoughts and opinions on it all are, or what I think from a medium's point of view, what I think. I do think people do come down here and sometimes get lost or forget where they're going, like children or anybody for that matter. We can all get lost. I've seen me get lost even with freaking sat-nav. Do you know what I mean? So I do think that there is that possibility. I would never ever rule that possibility out due to the fact that, you know, it kind of could happen. Do I think that sometimes a medium may need to step in? I would say a medium maybe needs to call their spirit guides in, and their spirit guides would then bring in whatever it is that they felt was needed from the spirit world in order to take them people back towards the light. Again, it's free will. That person's got to want to go into the light. You kind of force any spirit to do anything it doesn't want to do, because it's not entitled to. It's not made to make that decision. It's the spirit's choice to make that decision. So with connections to your question, Julie, I would say no, I haven't helped anybody. But do I feel as if that's possible? Yes and no. Yeah, I do, and yeah, I don't. I think that I've got a couple of concepts on that. I've heard a couple of different stories on it. Do I believe in it's the medium and its ego and stuff like that? No, I different. I think that's somebody just thinking that they're not everything when really they don't, type of thing. I think they haven't done enough research on that in order to give off that kind of opinion, because I do think from time to time a medium does step in, i.e. to bring their spirit team forward in order for them to help that spirit. So was that ego based? No. Do I think some spirits get lost from time to time? Yeah, because we all capable of doing that in some way, shape or form. And the intelligence of the spirit world is only as intelligent as it was here to the earth plane, unless it's done extensive training and knowledge in the spirit world, and that can take a lifetime sometimes. So could they get lost? Yeah, there is a possibility of that, and I would never rule that out either, because the raise and can does happen. So I hope that answers the question a little bit there, Julie. Do our religious beliefs and practice affect us in the afterlife? No, Julie, definitely not. The spirit world do not judge you on what you believe or what you don't believe. Again, like I said before, God has many houses from different religions and different sort of backgrounds. So the answer to that question is no, darling. The spirit world do not get involved in religion or get involved. All the spirit world asks us that we love each other and we treat each other in exactly the same way there. Is a blue orb, for example, related to an angel? I do believe that different orbs have different meanings and different sort of substances or different sort of. We've got to remember what is an orb. So let's talk about what is an orb. An orb is a mixture of energy. That's what it is. So it's different energies accumulated and compressed and combined together in order to give off phenomena, is the best word that I can use. What I would say to you is that orbs are normally a manifestation before an actually fully fledged spirit will appear, or it is an opportunity for that spirit in order to be able to get through in an easier way than it would be to use a full phenomena there as well, because ultimately it takes a lot of energy in order to build full phenomena or to do full materializations there, which is getting down the road of cabinet work and trance work and this type of thing there. So do I think that orbs have a purpose? Yes. Do I feel that they're a mixture of energies and different sort of molecules and, you know, atoms and, you know, all that malarkey that makes science? Yeah, of course I think it does. Do I think it has an element of the spirit world in it? Yeah, I do. Do I think the different colours mean things? Yeah, I do. But do I think there's been as much research into them as I would probably like to say? Probably not. No. So I hope that answers your question a little bit there for you. Julie said, have you, sorry, Julie, oh yeah, there. What do you do to open yourself up to energies and close down at the end of the session? Right. Here's another one, Julie. Are you ready? So, let's tell you the tale. So, as we get back to the story in which that we did before. When I first started out, you know, I had a technique in place and it's called structure. That's what we call it, structure. Probably when I was a starting medium, I was very structured. Why? Because it was easier for me. It was how perfect, no problem. Cheers, Lorraine, for that. When I first started out, I found that I was very structured. Why? Because it was easy to do my work. I found it easy to it was easiest to work with that to the best of my abilities. Putting the structure in place allowed my mind to be able to give the messages, allowed me to connect to the spirit world, because that was just how I found it most best for me as a starting out medium type of thing. Is my mediumship's advanced? Or has I've moved down the path more? I found that I've been able to drop that structure to the fact where now I've got no structure whatsoever. None. And that also comes across with my opening and closing. Now, I'm not going to tell you what I do and what I don't do, because of the fact that any medium who may be watching this would then get some kind of idea. I'm a great believer in you will do what is ever best for you with that connection. You will either stick with your structure because that's what you've been taught for many, many years. And who am I to say that that's any different? I just chose as a working medium, and as I moved professionally more down that path, to change my mediumship as I grew and evolved as a medium. And I have no issue or problem with that. If you want to stay with the structure in which that you've been given from wherever you've been given. And I see people brand a lot of people, and I hear it quite a bit, bad teaching. There is never any bad teaching. Never. Ever. All it is people who don't have all the knowledge. And somebody will always learn something from somebody in some way, shape or form. Either don't go down that road. And this is where I say about bad teaching. No, nothing can be bad teaching, because ultimately what will happen is that person will come away from that workshop, that demonstration, whatever it may be, and go, I don't want to be like that. So that teaches them straight away to be, I don't want to be like that. Or they will watch somebody and go, I need to endeavour to be as strong as possible in that respect. So I don't believe there's anything such as bad teaching. I hear people, rant and rave about bad teaching. I hear it all the time. And I don't think there's anything such as that bad teaching, because what you will find is the individual will ultimately go, I don't want that, or I need that. There's a difference. And they will ultimately have a free mind in order to choose what it is that they want to decide. But with connections to the opening and closing, if you want to stick with that structure and what you've been taught, then who am I to say any different? Who am I to tell you that that's wrong, right, or indifferent? If you need that structure, then let me. All I would do is, as a teacher, I would work with my spiritual toolbox to either help you to work with that structure so you're a little freer with it, but keeping your structure, because that makes you feel safe. And how am I to tell any medium what is right, wrong, or indifferent about what makes you feel safe in the spirit world? It is not my place to, nor is it wrong, right, wrong, or indifferent of me to take that from you. What I would like to see is, or what I would say is there's some mediums who are already like me, who are doing my kind of, freestyle, as I call it, freestyle mediumship, and or freestyling without the structure in, if that makes sense. So what I would just like to say is sorry about that, I completely lost you there. So I would always say that, keep with the freestyling, and whatever it is that works for you, works for you. And if I was to get a student who was very freestyling, which I have got some students with me at the moment who are freestyling, what I would do there is just take that spiritual box and go, right, let's take you to the next level. Where can I push you? My structured students need more time. Let me give you that time. Here's some little bits and pieces. Let's work with this. Let's give you some movement to grow there. And just sort of actively encourage them and make them like they're like me little chickens. I'm just like, well, come on then, let mummy feed you. Where I've got me other ones who are like out there for all the world to see, and like I'm a freestylers. So I'm just like, right, well, let's push you. Let's take you to the next level. Let's see where I can get you. Let's see if I can punch you for that bigger evidence. Who is out there? Is there a friend out there? Look for that friend. Is there a little in there? Look for that little. And let's open your conscious up. So, your technique is yours again. And I see people time and time again you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you should do this, you should do that. Who are you to tell anybody how to do anything when it comes to the spiritual aspect of anything? Why? Because you were trained that way, so that makes it right for you? It doesn't. That's right for you. That's what works for you. That's what's best for you. You stick with that. But always be open-minded of the other selection that you need to be working with there. So, it's up to you what you do and how you open and shut. Whether you put protection up or you don't put protection up. Whether you believe in that or whether you don't. Who am I to take? Oh, it keeps freezing. I know I just got knocked off there a minute. Sorry, Catherine. I see people again, complain about, you don't need no protection up. You don't need to do this. You don't need to do that. you know, the spirit world will never harm you. And yeah, I agree with that massively. I have no issues or problems with any of that, none whatsoever. But what I do need to, what I do need to recommend here is, again, why am I taking away somebody's structure? They will drop that structure when they're ready. They will let go when they're ready. Me as a teacher, I'm here to build you. I'm here to make you feel that confident, that sure in yourself and your work, that you don't need that structure. But will we work with that structure for the time being? Yeah, because that's, you try to pull that structure from anybody too quick, they're going to climb up on you. They're just going to shut you out. They're going to be like, boom, get away from me. I don't like you. I don't like your style of teaching. I don't like who you are. Go away. But if you just sort of feed the chickens and, you help them along the path there and X, Y, and Z, you find that they drop that fear, they drop it in a crack. And I'm a big believer in that. A lot of fear is built in through people having emotional issues, physical problems, whatever it may be, relationship problems. And if I can eliminate them, which I do, that's what I do before I even teach my lot. I work extensively close with a really good friend of mine, and me and her work extensively with different aspects of different things, and again, my mind is always broadened and look at how things can be done differently, how I can support my students in the best way possible. And I just see time and time again, a lot of mediums try to destroy another medium by the way they've taught. So what? You know what I mean? So what? You cannot judge somebody else just because they don't agree with your teaching. And to be honest, I've seen, there's one particular person I watched for a long time, and I didn't agree with any of their teaching whatsoever, and I see it being so structured and so, but yeah, speak so massively about how free they are, yet I see absolutely no freedom and massive amounts of structure, and I see it go on time and time again, and it just sort of bothers me. And then you crucify other people for the very thing that they do themselves. So I tend to stay away from all that, and I just let my students be what they need to be. They will work to the best of their ability, and they'll come when they're ready. And who am I to push them? So what you believe in connections to opening, closing, or protection, you do whatever it is you feel needs to make you feel safe. The rest of it we'll work with along the way, and that's the way I see it. So is that it? Is that it for questions, folksies? Because if it is, I'm going to be doing a dash. Because I know that Catherine's got 1,000,001 inboxes. I've been seeing them pinging through the page. Mrs. Audi, love, you're all right. I hope the States is keeping you well. I'll see you next year. And I will be in touch. I will chat to you as well. For anything to do with my training or anything to do with my workshops or anything like that, do get in touch via the Facebook page. X, Y, and Z. If you want to drop me an email, it's askme@danielle.com. Any questions or queries for the next YouTube live, I will certainly take a look at them for you. I hope you have enjoyed it. I haven't had my tea yet. I'm going to go and have my tea actually. And I'm going to have something to eat because I'm absolutely starving. I think I might even get my friend gin out. I'm banging that gin at the minute, I tell you. I'm going to turn into an alcohol shortly. No, I'm only joking. It's just because I'm doing a beta, and I've got a lot on at them, and I'm really busy. Really. Yep. Love watching tonight. Enjoy it, Kim. Please do share this video around or share the YouTube channel around. I'd be really grateful, lasses. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. Really do help me grow, alright? I love you lots and lots. I hope it's been informative. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope you've understood everything. Anything you haven't understood, get in touch with me there, alright? It's been a pleasure as always. I will get back to do more, but it's just the demands of work at the moment, but I try endeavour to do as much as possible for free. My heart goes out to each and every one. You sleep well, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now, everybody. Bye.